he has spoken on the topics faith, family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J. Loren Norris.
Well, you say you want to lead, but let me ask you this question. Why do you want to lead? What happens when you lead? How do you get to be a leader? Those are really questions that I get asked them all the time. Usually in like LinkedIn requests for a coach. And usually takes like the first 2 conversations for them to realize that's not what I meant by leader. That's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and it really is amazing to me how many people, well, they want to be a leader because in their mind, what they're thinking when they say leader is the boss, the highest level, the paycheck. Nobody else gets to tell me what to do. I get to make all the decisions on my own. It's all my playing field. And I think to myself, if that's what you believe about leadership, then you don't know what you're asking for. Because I can tell you, from leaders of small organizations, the fry cook boss at the local fast food place, all the way up to a major general or the highest level general of the armed forces answering to the president, I don't care what level of leader you are, you will always, did you hear that? Always have a boss. You will never be leader enough that you don't have a boss. There will always be someone you answer to. Now, let me add one other thing to that too. See, the only way to be a leader is to get yourself out of the people pile. John Maxwell talks about that a lot. In fact, he's the one that I got the illustration from. But he said, you find yourself in this whole pile of people, all of the other people in the organization, all the other people in the world, all the people who've applied for that job, all the people who think they're competent at that job, went to the same school, got the same training, got the same degree. They're certified in the same things that you're certified in. And somehow you gotta get your paw up there and get your hand out of the people pile so people recognize that you're different, you're special. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're better than anybody else. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the ability to identify and express to others your distinct qualities and natures. Now, I can tell you some of the distinct qualities and natures you're going to have as a leader is tough skin. Because the minute you stick your hand up there and then you stick your head up there, I don't know if you've seen it, but like when there's a protection detail and the people surrounding the person they're protecting, they're covering the heads of, they're guarding, and when that head pops up, that head becomes a target. When that one person rises up, it's like whack-a-mole. If you're the leader, you're the distinct, you're getting out of the people pile, you're the whack-a-mole. You'll be targeted by your competition. Every other organization that looks at your organization and says, if they win, we lose, they're coming after you. They're going to do everything they can to take you down. And they know what everybody knows. If you take the head off the snake eventually dies. If you're the one sticking up out of the people pile, you're the whack-a-mole. You're the leader. You're the one they have to take down in order to stop the competition. If you're the opponent, if you're the competition, you're the target. But that's not the only place that you're going to have targets. You're going to have targets from businesses just like yours. That they're not even competition. They don't sell the same product. That's what I mean by competition. They don't offer the same service. That's what I mean by competition. But they are competing for the same dollars. If you're running a business, a service business, a coaching business, an author business, you write books, you sell widgets, you fix cars, you build houses, you build buildings, you sell real estate, any one of those, there's actually competition for your dollars, for your attention, for your time, for your effort, for your emotion. There's competition for all of those things. And if you think that once you become the leader, you get more of those time, talent, treasure, and attention from everybody else, you're thinking wrong. I mean, you have to go get them in order for your business, your team to succeed. But just getting the title leader, just getting the name badge supervisor, boss, CEO, owner, founder, doesn't make all that stuff automatically happen. No, because now that you got out of the people pile to get the leadership position, you've got to get out of the people pile that puts your organization in a place of distinction. Well, now you've got to get to a whole nother level of what makes you distinct. You got to be tough-skinned. You've also got to be emotionally grounded. You've got to be solid enough that when people start poking at you, start digging up your past, start throwing things against the wall to see what'll get you down, that you're not thrown off balance real easy. There used to be a great show on, I can't remember the name of it. I think it was SEALs, or maybe it was before SEALs. But I remember when the general was kidnapped and the opposing forces, the terrorists, whoever they were, had him locked up in this interrogation room all by himself. And they were doing all they could to break him. And at one point, they realized he had a family and he had a daughter. And so without any grounds for any accusations, they just began to pound on him emotionally about his relationship to his daughter. Is she daddy's little girl? Have you ever had any appropriate? Have you ever thought about her have you ever been in the bathroom when she was in the shower? It just went down the list of all the things that would be wildly inappropriate that would break a father's heart, a good father. But accusing him of the things that most men would never do. Sickos would. But accusing him of that drove him to a point of anger and rage. They didn't make him cry, they made him mad. And they thought, we've got him right on the verge, he's going to snap. And then he got control of his emotions, and he went deadpan. He went from uncontrollable rage to, I'm not going to let you affect me. I realize your words have no value. They have no weight. But see, the news reports, the multiple stories, the Wikipedia releases, the things that come against a leader because a leader is making progress. Emotionally, the opponent, the competition, they want to hamstring you. They want to bring you to a place where you look back and go, what did I do wrong? Why are they after me so hard? I never went after them. And the truth of the matter is, especially in politics, it's just the way the game is played. Watch closely enough and you'll see people who have eviscerated each other on a debate stage, said horrible, nasty things about each other. True, some of them true, some of them not. And later they're having lunch together and you're thinking, if you're that vitriolic against each other, if you hate each other that vehemently, why are you having lunch together? There are people I've cut out of my life because they can't control their tongue and what they have to say is vitriolic. They're not allowed back in my life. I don't need any pet scorpions. They're not good pets. I mean, I know some people keep them, but I don't care how long you've had a scorpion as a pet. If it gets loose, it's going to sting you. That's what scorpions do. I don't need a pet scorpion. I don't want to take a chance of it getting loose in a house because then I'm going to have to crush it. I don't need people like that in my life. I don't need people like that on the teams that I lead. I don't need people like that in the world of influence. And I most certainly, as a communications expert, do not want to equip or empower them to be better at the vitriolic nonsense that comes out of their mouth. I'm not going to be responsible for that. As a leader, though, you've got to have the tough skin to be able to hear their stupidity, their mouth spewing, their letter writing campaigns, their attorney opportunities to try to come after a little cash if they can. As a leader, you got to be tough skinned. You've got to be emotionally grounded. And here's a harder one, especially these days, because the target keeps moving apparently. You've got to be morally grounded. You've got to be the kind of person with an impeachable past. That doesn't mean you can be impeached. It means another word might be impeccable. But you want to have the kind of past life that people look at and go, that's a Boy Scout, that's a Girl Scout. You can't find much more than a parking ticket in their past. Now, I'm sad to say, I don't have that kind of past. I don't have a perfect past. If you dug enough, you'd go, ooh, yikes. This is true. That's who I am. But I am a person of grace. And I am a person that, since I recognized, I'll give you an example of my imperfect past. On my day to be sworn in to the U.S. Air Force, I was at the MEP station. I was delayed entry to go into a job. And the reason it was delayed entry is because the training window for the job I was going into, explosive ordnance disposal, the training window was very specific. And so I was inducted. I was brought up for ready to be deployed on a specific date. I had signed up for the Air Force months before, but on delayed entry, I was waiting for that particular training date so that I could go through basic training and come out and go to that training at just the right time. So I'm at the MEP station and I'm processing in, and they've already sworn me in. I've already done my thing and said I'll serve and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That oath, by the way, doesn't have an expiration date, ironically. But as they were ready to send me to basic, they came back and said, by the way, you have an outstanding traffic ticket. And I said, yeah. They said, and you have 13 moving violations. Yep. I thought I'd pay that ticket when I got my first check. They said, nope, you can't go until it's resolved. So you're going to sit here already sworn in until that's resolved. 13 moving violations. Yeah, I got my license at 16 or 18. And within the 2 or 3 years between getting my license and going off to basic training, I had 13 moving violations on my driving record. That meant no top secret security clearance for you. And that's how I was moved from EOD to the fire department, because I had not maintained the moral high ground in my life. I've done things that are embarrassing. I've done things that were, well, flat out stupid. I've done things that were bad decisions at the time that I did them, and I knew when I did it, it was a bad decision. And I look back now on the things that those decisions have disqualified me from. They disqualified me from a top secret security clearance. 13 moving violations, no top secret. I did have a secret the whole time I was on active duty, but there are certain things that you can't do because you don't mind your P's and Q's when you're younger. I'm telling you this because some of you right now are at a place in your life where you're like, I'm ready to lead. I want to be the boss. I want to be in charge. And you've never asked yourself the question, have I maintained a moral foundation that others would look at and go, that's somebody we should follow. That's a leader. Because, yeah, it's a lot of skill. And it's a lot of getting out of the people pile and rising up so that people recognize who you are and how you're distinct. And it's a lot of being willing to take the arrows from every direction, because it's not just your competition. And it's not just your opponents who are going to come at you. It's not just the competition in your niche, but everybody competing for time, talent, treasure, and attention just like you are. But it's also the people on your team. And here's something you need to know. They know you better than your opponents. They know you better than your competition. Your team knows the ins and the outs, the goods, the bads, the good days, the bad days, how you react to things, how you emotionally respond to things. They know if you're emotionally grounded, and they know if you're morally founded. They know where you're weak. They know what your weak spots are. And you know who the most likely firer of arrows is, even on your team? It's most likely that person you promoted to be right by your side. There's an old phrase that says, keep your enemies close, or your friends close and your enemies closer. There are a lot of people who operate with that strategy. They do it with the wisdom of knowing this is an opponent. This is someone who's looking to take me out. I'm going to keep close tabs on them. I'm going to watch them closely. I'm going to know what they're up to, what their travel plans are, who they're meeting with, what kind of conversations they're having, what projects are they working on and off the clock. But the leader who doesn't guard their inner circle, they may rise up. They may rise all the way to the top. They may have all the power and all the authority, make all the decisions, and then find themselves in a place where the person who looks to take them out is the one who wants their job. I have friends who have been in ministry for a decade or so and had someone on their board take them out, only to take over the same ministry. They didn't want to absolve the entire thing. They didn't want to dissolve the entire project. They didn't want to get rid of everything it had done. They just wanted more power. And sometimes the people in your inner circle are the ones who are going to do that. The ones closest to you. The ones you've entrusted with your deepest, darkest secrets. The most information. The best understanding. They know how you made yourself distinct. They know how you got out of the people pile. That gives them some insights into ways that they could do the same thing. It also exposes what your flaws were, and they know what to avoid. You've given them some great fodder to work with, both in taking you down and in taking your place. As a leader, in order to be successful, you've got to figure out how to get out of the people pile. You've got to distinguish yourself. You've got to show something that not everybody has, some character, some fortitude, some strength, some insight, some understanding, some knowledge base. There's got to be something about you that people look at and go, wow, you're different. And when that's the case, leadership opportunities will come to you. But the preparation that allows you to meet preparation and opportunity is where the intersection where luck happens. If the opportunity comes and you're not prepared, luck passes you by. When that opportunity appears for you to step into leadership, the preparation you should have been working on is your emotional grounding, your moral founding, your tough-skinnedness, your ability to hear some of the harshest, meanest, most cruel, unbelievable lies and still hold on to what you know to be true. The ability to surround yourself with people in an inner circle that you trust to the greatest extent. People with whom you have full transparency, and they have transparency with you as well. They've told you everything, and you've told them everything. It's not a quid pro quo. It's not an insurance policy per se. It's about honesty and integrity. It's that moral foundation that says, I'm going to do what's right even if it costs me money. I'm going to do what's right even if it takes extra time. I'm going to do what's right if it costs me friends. Regardless, I'm going to do what's right. That kind of moral foundation, that will make you distinct. That will make you stand out. That will make you a whack-a-mole. Trust me, the minute you rise up in that kind of moral high ground, don't just proclaim it. Live it. You can't just say that you believe these things. You've got to be the kind of person that demonstrates they're true. When you can do that, you'll find yourself in all kinds of opportunity for leadership. When that happens, choose wisely. Because there are a whole lot of people who would love to see you rise up to leadership only to take you down. In fact, they'll give you positions of leadership so they can destroy you. They'll give you leadership positions you're not ready for the purpose of destroying you, so that you can't get to the ones you're ready for. I know this sounds like a sick cycle, but it really is true. There are people who will elevate you. They will give you opportunities. They will put you in front of the right people in the right places at the right time to bring you down. If you're not morally founded, emotionally grounded, and tough-skinned, you might stick your head up just in time to get it shot off. Don't take that chance. Make sure that you're prepared before you rise up for leadership. Make sure that you're prepared for arrows to come from every direction, because they will. Make sure that you're ready. And ask yourself this question. This is going to sound really harsh, but anybody that's moving into the category of leadership, I really challenge you to consider this question. Is this a hill I'm willing to die on? I remember working nights at a convenience store. It was right after Crocodile Dundee was so famous and his very particular scene. And I had a young man come in about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had just been opening all the bags of cheese to refill the nacho cheese, and the only knife we had in the store to do it was like a meat cleaver. It was like 20 inches long. And so I had all the cheese all over the counter. I was trying to get this stuff put away, and this one customer comes in for a pack of cigarettes at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he reaches over the counter with a pocket knife about 2.5 inches long. And it says, "Empty the register." And out of response, I don't know why, I reached for that knife and I pulled it back up, and it was that giant meat cleaver. I didn't even have to swing my arm. He was already too close. I nearly took his nose off just picking up the knife because he was trying to come over the counter. And when he saw the size of it, he dropped his pocket knife and he ran out the door. And I thought to myself, what if I hadn't had that? Is this little convenience store worth me giving my life for the $86 in the cash register? If you wanted the money in that register, would I really fight him for it, or just open the door and let him have it? Is this a hill, this $87 and whatever change, worth fighting for? Worth dying on? See, as a leader, sometimes you got to ask that question before you accept that position. I was the night manager. That was awesome, right? Who cares? Who was I influencing? One customer at a time? I was so convinced that I wanted the label of manager that I was willing to take that night shift by myself in the wrong part of town to get it. Before you ask yourself, can I get this job? Ask yourself, do I want this job? Is that a leadership role that's going to advance my career, that's going to give me opportunity, that's going to give me influence, that's going to allow me to grow into the next level? Or is this a hill not worth dying on? That the minute I get there and I become the whack-a-mole and I'm standing up above everybody else and I've gotten out of the people pile and now everyone recognizes me as the manager. Will it matter? In the short term, in the long term, will it really matter? And if you can't answer that question, then maybe throw the brakes on, take a little bit of a pause, and ask yourself, am I tough-skinned? Am I emotionally grounded? Am I morally founded? Is that a hill worth dying on? When you can answer all 4 of those questions with a positive yes, time to stand up. And if not, keep your head down, do your job, get prepared, wait for opportunity. It's coming, because you're a leader in the making. I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Loren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Loren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Loren will serve you well.